Well now, it seems the Supreme Court just smacked New York State, New York City, most of California, the city of Philadelphia, several counties around Philadelphia, Chicago, I believe, Detroit, several other regions that I'm sure I'm forgetting, with a 2x4 upside the head. Let's talk about the Supreme Court decision that specifically outlines the fact that the Second Amendment does permit public carry of firearms for the purposes of self-defense. New York's proper cause requirement violates the 14th Amendment by preventing law-abiding citizens with ordinary self-defense needs from exercising their Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms in public for self-defense. It is undisputed that petitioners Koch and Nash, two ordinary law-abiding adult citizens, are part of the people whom the Second Amendment protects. See Heller, blah, 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 blah. And no party disputes that handguns are weapons in common use today for self-defense. Nothing in the Second Amendment's text draws a home public distinction with respect to the right to keep and bear arms, and the definition of bear naturally encompasses public carry. Seems logical to any rational person, right? But there are lots of places that have said, well, we'll let you keep it at home, but it's not for public. Clearly there's crime still, right? Clearly the police are not 100% effective, even if they are doing an excellent job. Moreover, the Second Amendment guarantees an individual right to possess and carry weapons in case of confrontation. Blah, blah, blah. And confrontation can surely take place outside the home. Notice that it does not specifically limit that. It just says that it can take place outside the home. Now, further on in the decision, they talk about the fact that there's nothing they're saying that is limiting the state or a city from saying, hey, this is a sensitive zone, you can't carry here. So they're not saying that it's now open season to carry in a school, in a courthouse, in a federal building, in a state building. They're still saying that it's okay for the states to restrict that based on their own decisions, or the federal government in the case of a federal building. They're simply saying that public is allowed. I think it's going to be very interesting. One of the reasons I disliked New York, Eastern Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, they had this attitude that guns were something that you should need special permission for, that the state had a monopoly on it, and they were doing you a favor by allowing you, if you begged properly, to have a firearm for self-defense. Because otherwise, you could, generally speaking, have one at home, but let's face it, that's such a small slice of the pie. To me, that always seemed very short-sighted and very counterintuitive, because clearly the police exist for a reason, right? And the police go armed. And the police regularly argue that they are not armed well enough, that they need more firepower, that they need things that the public is not even allowed to have, right? All to deal with the same criminals the public has to deal with. You're telling me that, the cop that responds to my phone call after I get mugged or raped or, assaulted, he needs more firepower than I needed to deal with the immediate threat. Well, really? That logic doesn't wash. So I think that this Supreme Court decision is going to lead to a next step, which is that these restrictions, whether it's magazine restrictions, regulating exactly what kind of handgun you can carry, things like that, those are going to be next. And hopefully there's already court cases in process so that we're not waiting another decade or two. But, we could see the day where New York, California, Connecticut, I believe Massachusetts, and a few other states that have magazine restrictions basically get told, knock it off. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. This laid the groundwork for a lot of that by basically saying the Second Amendment trumps your ability to restrict somebody's rights. That, yes, the Second Amendment really is above your state level anti-gun shenanigans. So, take care, have fun, stay safe, everybody, and enjoy your now further clarified freedoms.